Right. So today we're going to be diving into the world of tech regulations.
Ooh, exciting.
Yeah, right. Specifically, how the EU is like shaking things up when it comes to charging ports on devices.
Yeah, yeah. Big changes happening over there.
Big changes. You know, you actually sent us some recent news from The Verge about Apple and the iPhone
Uh-huh.
and how this is all affecting them. So
Yeah.
get ready for some surprising facts. I think will be pretty interesting.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's just fascinating, right? To like watch how these global tech standards evolve, and this whole move by the EU, well, has some pretty interesting implications.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a big deal. So let's just get right to it. As of today, December 28th, 2024, the EU has officially mandated that USB-C charging ports have to be on a whole bunch of devices.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's like, so long. Farewell to those lightning cables.
Right. It's a big change for sure, especially for, some companies more than others.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'll get into that. But first, I'm kind of curious, what's the real why behind the EU's decision here? Like, is it really just about forcing everyone to use the same charger?
Well, on the surface, it might seem that way, right? Like, oh, everyone's got to use the same charger now. But it's actually much more than that. Like, if you really dig into it, the EU's Directive 2022/380, well, it's really aiming to tackle e-waste.
E-waste.
Yeah, exactly. And reduce market fragmentation. They're really trying to make the whole tech ecosystem, more sustainable and consumer-friendly.
Gotcha. Okay, so like less of that drawer full of random chargers that everyone seems to have.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's me. Definitely guilty of that.
Yeah.
But hold on a sec. This whole standardization thing, I mean, couldn't it actually backfire in a way? Like, what if it stifles innovation in, like, charging technology?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, will companies still be as, driven to experiment with new ideas if they're all kind of forced to focus on just this one standard? Well, that's a good question and something that a lot of people are kind of, debating. It's definitely possible, right? I mean, it's possible that setting a standard, any standard,
Yeah.
could, make companies less likely to kind of push the boundaries. But on the other hand, it could actually have the opposite effect.
Oh, really? How so?
Yeah. I mean, think about it. Having this common platform, this USDC thing, could actually, like, foster innovation in other areas, right?
Yeah.
Like, companies might start, competing on things like charging speed,
Right.
or maybe efficiency, but all within this, USB-C standard.
Okay. That makes sense. That's a good point.
Ah,
So how about the other thing you mentioned, market fragmentation? What is the EU hoping to, achieve with that?
well, just imagine, right, like imagine a world where every single phone, every tablet, even like your electric toothbrush
Oh, wow.
has its own like unique charging port. It would be total chaos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That'd be a nightmare.
Total nightmare. The EU is basically trying to make things way simpler and more convenient for consumers, obviously, right? By just like making sure that one charger can, power all your devices.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. So speaking of convenience, we were talking about Apple earlier. It seems like they've been kind of put in a tough spot by this whole thing,
Yeah.
right? Like The Verge reported that Apple already pulled all of their remaining Lightning-equipped iPhones from European stores.
Whoa, really? That's big.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal, especially for a company that, is known for kind of doing their own thing with technology.
For sure. I mean, Apple has resisted, adopting USB-C across its entire product line for like what seems like forever.
Yeah.
But the EU directive basically forced their hand on this one. It kind of makes you wonder, though, like, did they already have like a USB-C iPhone just kind of like waiting in the wings?
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Interesting. Maybe they did. Who knows? But here's where it gets kind of, interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Those same iPhones, the ones with the Lightning ports, they're still available in the U.S.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and other countries outside the EU. So we could be looking at a future where, like, you can buy a brand new iPhone with a Lightning port in one country, but not in another.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. It's going to be really interesting to see how all of this, like, shakes out,
Yeah.
will other countries follow the EU's lead? And then what does that mean for, people who travel a lot?
Right.
The devices, it's a whole can of worms.
Yeah, lots of questions. Now, the EU directive isn't just about, which type of port a device uses. They also went a step further and said that any devices with fast charging have to support the USB PD standard.
Right.
Can you break that down for us a little? Like, what is that and why is it important?
Oh, absolutely. So USB PD stands for USB Power Delivery. And it's basically this fast charging standard that allows for like way higher levels of power transfer,
Sure.
compared to those older USB standards.
Okay.
So by like standardizing on USB PD for fast charging, the EU is trying to make the whole charging experience,
Yeah.
like safer and more efficient for consumers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like one charger for everything is kind of the dream, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, imagine, right? You got one charger and you can like quickly and safely charge your phone, your laptop, your tablet.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
It's so convenient.
Definitely. Okay. So there's one more thing about this directive that I kind of wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
The EU is also like allowing companies to sell devices, but without a charger in the box.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
What's the reasoning there? Like, are they just trying to make things, more difficult for people?
No, no, not at all. I mean, the idea really is to cut down on e-waste. I mean, let's be honest, a lot of us already have like a ton of chargers just kind of like lying around.
Yeah.
So why create more, The EU is basically saying, hey, let's encourage people to reuse what they already have.
Hmm.
And, not only that, but it could also potentially lower the cost of devices, right? If they don't have to include a charger.
Okay. Yeah. I see what they're going for. But I mean, I can also see how, like, some people might be annoyed by that, right? Like, if you don't already have a USB-C charger,
Sure, yeah.
you're going to have to buy one separately. It'll be interesting to see how, consumers react to that.
Yeah, for sure.
And speaking of new devices, there's actually a rumor going around that Apple is working on a new iPhone SE.
Oh, really? A new SE?
Yeah. And it's supposed to launch in 2025. And get this,
What?
it's expected to have USB-C.
No way. Finally.
Yeah. So even Apple is kind of like,
Yeah.
embracing this whole thing. And there's even talk that it might have an OLED display, which would be a pretty big upgrade from the LCD screen on the current iPhone SE.
Yeah, that would be a huge upgrade.
Right. So it seems like this whole EU regulation could actually be like, a catalyst for a wave of new devices and technologies.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, what does the future hold for, tech standards?
It's true. I mean, this whole move by the EU is a really powerful example of how, regulations can shape the future of technology.
Absolutely.
It's a bold step toward, like, a more sustainable and consumer-friendly and, interoperable tech ecosystem. And it will be very, very interesting to see if, other countries follow suit and what impact, what kind of long-term impact these changes will have, like on innovation and consumer behavior.
Yeah.
A lot to think about.
Yeah, a lot to think about. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It's going to be fascinating to see how this all unfolds in the coming years.
Absolutely.
All right.
See ya.